Welcome back to Faye's Place, a podcast where dreamers have the liberty to dream. I'm your host, Phaedra, and I am so excited that we have this time to dream together. I, like you, tuned in for America's Next Top Model docu-series. And in response, people have been reaching out to Eva Marcille. Now, you know Eva Marcille. She was Eva Pickford on the show, and we all know her because she did that iconic pose with the spider on her hand. Yes! So inquiring minds wanted to know, Eva, what was your impression and opinion about what we saw on the docu-series? And honey, you could go on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram to find out her answer. But I do want to talk about one thing she said. Coming from South Central Los Angeles, she was used to the hustle culture. And so she knew that she had to put in the work to make sure that she had an outstanding career. An interesting point that she brought up was that the other girls didn't understand that. They were under the impression, and rightfully so, that if you're on the show, once you win, it's going to open all these doors and automatically you're going to have access and you're going to have fame. Eva said she was never confused, honey. She said, I knew from the get-go I was going to have to hustle. And so for this episode of Mentor Monday, we're going to get into the unspoken rule about what it really means to have a mentor. I empathize with those girls in America's Next Top Model because I too believe that if I had a mentor, I would also be successful. I'll have all the answers and life is going to be so smooth. But as you grow, you realize, I have to adjust the way that I'm thinking. Eva Marcille is 110% correct. You're going to have to work hard for your career. And you should want to because it's yours. Like Keke Palmer said, you have to own your narrative. Our mentors are human. Even though they're an expert at what they're doing, they are still learning as they go. And they're actively living in that career. So that means they're hustling at the same time that they're mentoring you. And as you know, in our field, it's gig after gig. You're trying to get your next job lined up. Hello, stressful. So that's number one. The second point is, mentors don't want to do the work for you. They want to see how hard of a worker you are. So baby, you better come with receipts. And just put yourself in their shoes. Would you want somebody lazy being your mentee? Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't. But this is good for your mentors to see because when they advocate on your behalf and even recommend you for opportunities, it's their name on the line and they don't want to be embarrassed. They can trust you because they see how hard you work. An immediate example of that is Chloe and Beyoncé. If Beyoncé is hard on herself, you think she's going to give anybody else leeway? Absolutely not. Whenever you see Chloe, she's always bringing her A game. One of my mentors lived by the rule, God bless the child who has its own. In other words, she did not want you asking her questions. She wanted you to answer them questions by yourself. And this was before ChatGPT. Researching is a huge part of showing your dedication to a craft because things that interest you, you're going to want to know more about it. But it also enables you to have a relative conversation with your mentor. Like we discussed earlier, they're actively hustling themselves. And so the time that you have with them, you don't want to waste it on something that you can just Google. The third point is the gems you receive from your mentor are not always explicit. And honestly, this one is the most frustrating, especially for me because I'm someone who craves clarity. I'm not going to go into the moral stance behind it or if I like it or if I agree with it. I'm just telling you what it is from my experience. So I have to start with the question that I'm always thinking about. Can you have a mentor if you do not have access to them? I've heard people talk about, I mentored so-and-so from afar. Is that real? Or have you just inspired them? Now, my opinion is a real mentor is when you have access and you can witness them in real time taking care of business. And while they're in the moment, they do not have time to narrate the situation to let you know step by step, okay, what they're doing and their thought process. So you have to just pick it up. When I pick my mentors, I want a well-rounded mentor. I don't want someone who's just good at a certain aspect of their job and maybe their life or home life is not up to the standard that I want for my own life. I need to know how they interact with their husband in daily communication and how they interact with their kids and how they juggle being a mom, a wife, and a career woman. That's important to me because that's the desire that I have. If I only like an aspect of what a person does, then that's when I say I admire their acting or their writing or the way they communicate with their fans. I would not seek mentorship from them. That's when I would just research them. I will pull up how they act in a certain television show. And so that's what I'm focused on. When I say I have a favorite singer, I have a favorite actor, I have a favorite performer, I take into account them as a whole human being. I like their personality. I like how they treat others. I like their values. That's important to me. Although I might have my own thoughts of what an ideal mentorship is, at least for me, maybe the best mentorships are the ones that are so seamless. I can recall having a mentor and being like, this is not what I expected. They're not living up to their standard. But then I had to rethink. I'm like, but I witnessed them in real time. And so my challenge is now to analyze what I witnessed and see how I can apply that into my own life. Mentors may not sign you to their record label like Beyoncé signed Halle and Chloe. They may let you overhear an important meeting or give you an all-access badge so you can go in and out and not only see concerts or performances from the audience, but also let you know what goes on behind the scenes. Mentorship might just be them following you on social media. And so if you have been frustrated by your mentor or you're looking for a mentor and you haven't found success, I would suggest to you, pivot the way you're thinking. Change your perspective. Analyze what you witnessed and see how you can apply it. If you enjoyed this episode and what we're doing here on Faye's Place, please give us a great rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Tune in next Monday for another episode with you in mind. I love you all for listening. Hi friends, it's Phaedra, and you are listening to Faye's Place. Join us each week as we talk to industry insiders about their journey and what it takes to turn dreams into a reality. Whether you aspire to be in the entertainment field or just inspired by the hustle, count this as your backstage pass. Join us every Monday for a brand new episode. And also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Faye's Place.